Hey there everyone, welcome back to another fantastic video. I love doing these videos, and today we're going back in the past and talking PlayStation 2. Yeah, it's a console that I feel gets a ton of love, but I still want to do a video about it. Maybe it'll get lost in the netherworld, I don't know. But I love talking about the PS2, and I have such fond memories of it. And even though it's not the console that I have the most collection for, I thought it'd still be fun to go ahead and put together a list of games that I'm really enjoying playing. And, you know, it's one of those things where I think anybody can still enjoy playing these games, even in 2024. Yeah, they may not be the best looking games, but that doesn't deter from the fun that you can have. And so I think that's part where, you know, we can kind of enjoy and have fun with this video. And if you don't agree with my picks, hey, that's fine too. Let me know in the comments what some of your picks are, and I'll respond and we'll take it from there. And if you guys do enjoy my content, please leave a like on the video. It helps the channel tremendously, and maybe even consider subscribing. So without further ado, let's go, let's play. Even though it might not be the coolest, let's get started.
But my mom says I'm cool.
Yeah, I know this probably isn't the coolest pick, but Star Wars Racer Revenge, I love this game. You know, it's just something fun about it. I am really kind of a prequel kind of person. I grew up with the prequels. Those are the ones that really kind of got me into Star Wars in the first place. I know, blasphemy, whatever, but I love those games. And the first Star Wars game, the pod racing game, was fantastic. I had such good memories of it. I actually played it a ton on the Nintendo 64. And then when I actually played the Dreamcast version, I was blown away by it. It's super fantastic. One of the coolest games, and just fun to play with friends. And this is the sequel to it. And I believe it only ever came out on the PlayStation 2. And far as I can tell, it never came out anywhere else, which is kind of weird. But, you know, it's still a fun game. And guess what? The game did come out later. I think they ported it to, like, the PlayStation 4 or something like that. But still, one of those fun games to plug in the PlayStation 2 for and play and enjoy. And if you're a Star Wars fan, and particularly if you like the prequels, and I always thought that the pod racing games are significantly well done. So, you know, there's never going to be any hate there for me in terms of being able to play these games. And I just love this game. And the actual creators of this game did ATV Offroad Fury, so keep that in mind as we progress, but such a fun game to try out. You know, Killzone might not ended up being the Halo killer like was promised and advertised, but it still was a pretty good franchise for the time. And this game actually looks and plays pretty good on the PlayStation 2 as well. Weird, we haven't got any of the Killzone games updated. You know, Sony, they love doing like remasters and remakes and things like that. And I really feel like they're kind of falling behind in the first-person shooter category. And yet, they don't really take advantage of the stuff they have, like Killzone as well as the Resistance series. But the first Killzone is often overlooked because, you know, Killzone 2 was just that next step that they really took, Guerrilla Games, and now of course they're busy with the Horizon Zero Dawn games. But this game is fun. It still holds up pretty well. I like the weighted control and the feel of the game itself. I think that that's something that not enough first-person shooter games have nowadays, but it is fun to actually kind of go into and play, and you have to understand that, you know, it's got a pretty good narrative and things like that. So definitely worthwhile playing if you have a PlayStation 2 hooked up, and highly recommended because, you know, especially if you like first-person shooters, because this was one of the better ones in my opinion, especially on the PlayStation 2. Up next, of course, is Jak 2. Now, I like the Jak and Daxter trilogy on the PlayStation 2. I think it's one of the better series of games, and Naughty Dog really did a good job with it. I think a lot of people are torn as to which one is the better game, and I think Jak 2 introduced a lot of cool things and a lot of cool features into the kind of fray, as it were. So that's why I kind of picked this one here. I think, you know, any of them can be fun, and yeah, you can play them remastered on the PS3 or whatever, but in terms of being able to kind of just go back and play something fun, pick it up and play here and there, I find that it can be very fun and soothing to play the game on the actual PlayStation 2 hardware, which, you know, again, sometimes people will break these consoles out to play with friends or just to kind of reminisce a bit, and that's all I'm suggesting here. I don't think anybody should rush out and, you know, buy a PlayStation 2 unless you've never owned one, and then there's a ton of great games like this that you can actually play for the console. So, you know, definitely a fun platformer. We don't see these types of games anymore. That's why I love when we get these types of when I can do these types of videos, because it gives me a chance to go back and play some of the best games. So yeah, give it a chance if you've never played it. Such a fun franchise to play. Next up, we have a really fun game called Legends of Wrestling 2. There were two of these games, obviously. I like the second one a little bit better. These are one of those type of games where at the time there wasn't much else doing outside of like WWE games, and so it was kind of cool because at the time, you had people like Hulk Hogan, who wasn't under contract for WWE, Roddy Piper, Bret Hart, and there's a lot of other ones as well that you can come in and play as. And it was really cool because I just felt like you could kind of do your own thing, like you take over the different territories. It was really old school on how it was put together. You can see and be Hulk Hogan and no sell every move possible. Put on the sharpshooter as Bret the Hitman Hart. So overall, I've mentioned this a few times. I'm a big wrestling fan, so obviously I have a few wrestling games in my collection, and this is just one of the fun ones that it's still kind of cool to go back and play on the PlayStation 2. I don't think these have been updated or brought to newer consoles as far as I can tell. So if you want to play them and kind of get that old school feel that isn't a WWE game and has a lot of wrestlers outside of WWE, then this would be one that's highly recommended as well. Just a whole lot of fun. Always fantastic X-Men Legends 2. Of course, this was going to be on my list. I did an earlier PS2 list, and I had the first game on there. I just love these games. Diablo-style top-down games, dungeon crawler, can play multiplayer. I remember playing through these games with my younger brother. We just had a blast playing the different characters. There's so many cool characters as you can play as. It's easy to kind of pick up and play. It's got a lot of Marvel characters in it that maybe wouldn't work together, but you can make it work. And I think that they did a really good job with the storytelling and stuff like that. What's funny is I was watching some of the cutscenes on this, and I remember vividly my brother and I talking like, yeah, that's what the future video games are going to look that good when you're playing them, and like we've well surpassed that at this particular point. But it's so much fun to kind of see how far these games have kind of come along. But it's good to go back and play these. I don't think these games have been put on anything else either. So again, really good time to play Wolverine, Cyclops, Magneto, Storm. All the great characters are there. It's just a fun time to kind of go back and play. If you haven't played these games, well worth the trip of nostalgia to boot them up and give them a chance. Next up is ATV Offroad Fury. And this was what I was telling you to be on the lookout, because these are the same guys that made Racer Revenge. And I love these games. It's something that we don't see a whole lot of these days, with like the ATV racing and stuff like that. But it used to be so popular back in the day. We'd always get these type of games like off-road racing, all kinds of stuff like this. It makes you really kind of nostalgic and miss what we used to get. We didn't even realize what we had in front of us, and we had some really fun games like this. And this one is still fun to kind of boot up, play through different people, play against people. I just thought that it was a really kind of fun game to kind of bring out, and something that's not necessarily the norm. You see so many people kind of when you talk about PS2, and they talk about things like Grand Theft Auto, which is a great series and a lot of nostalgia on there as well, and some of the best ones you can play. The reason why I didn't include those here is because I can't find my copies of the Grand Theft Auto games. They must be put away somewhere, and I forgot to unpack them. But yeah, ATV Offroad Fury, a lot of fun, great racing, handles fantastic, and a lot of fun to play on the PlayStation 2. Man, you know what? The PlayStation 2 had a lot of great mascot games, and Sly Cooper was one of them. I mean, you have Jak and Daxter, you have Sly Cooper, you had Ratchet and Clank. So many amazing games to choose from, but I always felt like the first Sly Cooper was such an underrated gem. Sucker Punch Productions, who, as you guys know, went on to later do the infamous games, and now they do Ghost of Tsushima. Very, very great games. These are such underrated platformers and kind of have that stealth, but also a little bit of action to them as well. A really fun franchise, and just one of the ones that you don't really see stuff like this anymore. I'm not sure if we'll ever see another Sly Cooper game, unfortunately, but I know there's a collection of remasters for the PlayStation 3, but for me, playing it on the PlayStation 2, which is where I remember it most, is just very nostalgic and fun. And if you've never played them, give them a chance. I don't think they're very expensive on the platform either, so play them. You'll fall in love with them. Great characters, great atmosphere, just a lot of fun. Just one of those great games that is fun even in 2024. Next up is the fantastic Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. Yeah, the best place to play this is going to be on newer consoles, I think. They're getting a complete remake, and the remake looks okay. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can maybe complain about. I'm interested to see if they redesign some of the characters, and you probably know what I'm talking about. If they make it for quote-unquote modern audiences, it's probably not going to be something that I'll actually go through and play, because there's already the HD remasters on Xbox 360, which I have there, and they upgraded those on Xbox Series X. So those stick to the tried and true formula of the game themselves. And again, Metal Gear Solid 3 is a fantastic game, but it's fun to play even on the PlayStation 2. I was having a blast kind of playing through it. I actually had recorded some footage a little further into the game, but when I went back and looked at it, the footage was a little bit dark. I don't know, maybe some of you guys have that problem when you record stuff. Usually I'm checking it as I record it, but I wasn't doing it at that time. So I went back and captured some of the beginning gameplay just for kind of contrast or whatever. But a lot of fun. You can't really beat these games. There's a lot of exposition in them, but the stories are amazing, and it's just a shot of nostalgia. Great fun to play on the PlayStation 2. Next up is one of the games that gets most requested for a remake or remaster, and that is the Simpsons Hit and Run. Yeah, I love the Simpsons Hit and Run. I love Simpsons Road Rage. I love the Simpsons just in general, as you can tell. If you subscribe to my channel, you're probably going to get Simpsons references and little clips here and there that kind of fit in with what I'm talking about at the time. But, overall, what's not to love about a Simpsons game that is kind of a ripoff of Grand Theft Auto? Right? It's been Simpsonized, and it's just such a great thing to see and such a cool thing to play. Even now, and like I said, booting them up and playing this game in 2024 is still a blast. All the great, voice work, like jokes, the little in-jokes and stuff like that, they're all still there. And it's probably from a time when The Simpsons was at its best, at its peak in terms of the show itself. So absolutely worth picking up this game, even Road Rage, and playing that as well, because if you're a Simpsons fan, you'll definitely want to give these a chance. And even playing them on the PS2 or original Xbox or whatever is a blast. So, go ahead, try it out, play it. Great stuff. A lot of nostalgia. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, like I said earlier, please like and possibly subscribe. And if you have any ideas for future content, let me know in the description or the comments what you like to see. I'm always open to kind of helping and doing things that are going to make you guys happy. I do this in my downtime from work, and it's a lot of fun for me to kind of go through my collection and play some of these games and talk about these games. But keep that in mind. I understand that not everybody has the same thoughts and opinions when it comes to these type of lists and things like that. So, again, you can't really go wrong. Boot up a PS2, an Xbox, whatever it is. As long as you're having fun gaming, that's really all that matters. So just have a good time. That's what these games are all about, and that's what they're there for. So I hope you enjoyed your little kind of trip back to the past with me today, and I'll catch you next time. Have a great day. Game on, my friends. Game on.